Well, hello there, fellow higher education marketer. My name is John Sammon. I'm from Six City Marketing, and I wanted to welcome you to this webinar focused specifically on you and helping you with your website and your overall marketing campaign and efforts. And today we're going to focus on something that's we encounter with a lot of our higher education clients, and how can they maximize the traffic coming to their website and maximize specifically the response from people interested in their online or their programs on their website. So we'll get into that a little bit today, and hopefully it'll help you moving forward. So let me minimize me, and we can talk about what we're going to talk about today. So the goals for the webinar, what we'll cover today, who we are, so a little bit of info about my company, review opportunities for improving response from your website. So you have traffic coming to your website that you want to maximize. What are the types of things that we can do from an analytical perspective and then an application perspective? We'll talk a little bit about design for conversion, specifically how can we design a site that gets more of a response. So it's a little bit different than a traditional website design approach. We'll share some resources with you and answer any questions that you have. So a little bit about us. Again, we are Sixth City Marketing, and we're an agency focused on internet marketing for higher education. We don't do any traditional marketing, and higher education organizations come to us to help them essentially achieve their online goals. And usually they're centered around increasing enrollment. So what are the types of things that we look at? What their goals are, who their target audience is, and where they're located, and essentially formulate a plan using the channels listed here. So search engine optimization, pay-per-click marketing or search engine marketing, social media marketing, and then website design and website design for conversion. Here are some companies or organizations, universities that we've worked with and continue to work with on an ongoing basis. And we've drawn a lot from these types of engagements. We've had several years of experience working with higher education clients, and I'll share some things with you today that will hopefully help moving forward. So like I said, when you're focused on enrollment, the types of metrics that we focus on in a internet marketing campaign are essentially increasing a response. So the types of things that we're looking to increase in an engagement that lasts, 6 months, 12 months, online contact form submissions or online form submissions, phone calls, any kind of email response, and then of course applications, online applications for specific programs. So what are the opportunities to improve conversions? Really what you want to do is, if you have access to this data, your website statistics data, what you want to do is try to review something called Google Analytics. So I'll show you it in a second here, but what we tend to encourage our clients to do, or when we start an engagement, is to look at the key areas of the website that would be the most relevant to the target audience. So if we're focused on enrollment, the home page, which I know can be hairy to make any kind of adjustment simply because there's so many different things that the home page has to do. The admissions section, and then what is essentially most important from what we've learned are the individual program pages focused on the certifications, programs, majors that you offer to both undergraduate and graduate students. So one of the things that we try to get access to in evaluating opportunities is to look at Google Analytics. So if you haven't had exposure to Google Analytics, it's the industry standard website statistics program. And I'll show you it really quickly. One of the things that I'll encourage you to focus on is reviewing traffic on your high priority pages. And there are ways to look at this data and gather how many the performance of these specific pages as people are on them, and the performance as people enter into the website. So we can go into let me go into Google Analytics. I'm all over the place here. I've got all kinds of fantastic examples for you. But if you're in Google Analytics, and it's a little bit buried here, but under behavior, you can go into behavior, site content, all pages. and it will show you a list of the top pages on your website within a specific time period. So this is the Six City Marketing site. Not giving away any trade secrets for our clients or anything like that. This is our site, so you get to look at our data. But there's a lot we can learn from this. So this will tell you, in diving into the overall website, how many pages people looked at, the top pages. So the slash is a shortcut or a kind of a nickname in analytics for the home page. And then you can see the path of the specific pages on our site. You can see how many people view these pages, unique page views, time on site, etc. What's interesting is, and this is the aggregate data on this screen, but if you go to a different screen, you're viewing the top landing pages. So these are the top pages that people actually came into your website through. So you can see the home page is up there, as you probably guessed, but you can see there's a different set of pages that people are actually coming into the website through. We can see that the higher education page is the second biggest page on the site that people come in through to see, and you can see kind of page performance. And certainly there are some metrics here that you can view to kind of guesstimate how well the page is doing, but something else I'll be talking about in a minute is something called goal completions. And these are, of the people who viewed these pages, how many people actually submitted a form or responded to that page. So we'll talk about that in a second. Very important stuff though, and it's very important to get that configured, which I'll talk about in a second. Something else I would recommend implementing in analytics, if you're especially diving in from a university level to view the data, is to create something called a filter. So in Google Analytics, you can actually filter out if I went to the Six City Marketing site, which I can go to now, of course, sixcitymarketing.com, and if I said, okay, I wanted to see the traffic to all of the pages listed under the About section, I could actually create a filter in Google Analytics that will segment that traffic out and just really show me how many people are in that section, how much time they spend in that section, and whether they responded or filled out a form from any pages in that section. So, if you are, this has worked really well for, if we're working on increasing enrollment for a specific college at a university, this is key data to have. To evaluate, rather than having to dig through all the university level data. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, certainly reach out, and there should be someone on your team that can help you with that to create that filter. If not, like I said, please feel free to reach out with questions. Conversions. So this is something that's not necessarily set up by default in Google Analytics. So when I see conversions, I automatically go to Google Analytics, but I wanted to make a point before I got to that. When you're viewing a page, you have identified key pages on your website, do you have a strong visual call to action? So when people look at a page, is it very clear as to what they should do when they're there? And I'll show you an example of a page for one of our clients. This is the North American Trade Schools. They're located in Baltimore, Maryland, and this is an example of a program page that they have. This is one of our clients, and we've created this page with a purpose in that when you land on the page, it's very obvious, hopefully not blindingly obvious, because that would distract from the page to some extent, where you should go if you're interested in the program. Here's the Contact Us, here's the Apply Now, note the language there, and then also a Contact Us button above. So it's very key to have a strong visual call to action. If you have a very plain page, adding something like this to that page, even a button with a bright color or something that stands out visually, will help you increase response from your website. Other things you can do, list a phone number prominently at the very top of the page. Just very simple things. Consider using forms. So not to pick on them, but I've got another example of a page. This is an example of an undergraduate page for the Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering program at The Ohio State University. You can see that as I get to this page, they have some great information about the program, but right above the fold, they're listing the email address. So we see a dramatic increase using a form versus listing an email address. So instead of this, there could be like a contact us where you click that button and go to a form page for people to fill out. Now, why is this? Why is the response so dramatic? Is essentially people are inherently lazy. They want it to be as simple and easy as possible to reach out. So something I would encourage you to use is forms on your website, and then something else called if you have forms set up on your website. You can implement something called goal tracking, which I referenced earlier. So if I go into my Google Analytics, this is something that's not configured by default. You can see that in this specific time period, I can see that I've had 16 what do they define as goal completions. And that's essentially 16 people filled out these forms on the website to reach out to us. And I can see a breakdown of that. Because we're using forms. And the other thing I can see, most importantly, is if I go to this landing page screen, I can see how many people actually contacted me from a specific page. And this data is key. You absolutely positively need to get Google Analytics data and goal tracking installed on the site so you can measure how effective your website is performing now and then as you make changes. So something to keep in mind. Forms can be a pain in the butt, and you know we've had experience working with different universities, and it's not always a priority for IT to create even a simple form for you. So we would recommend using Wufoo.com. It's a third party that specializes in creating these types of forms for you. For $14.95 a month, you can create an account and create forms using a drag and drop interface, and it's super easy to just install them on your website and set specific preferences for people to get emailed. The info is also stored in a database, which is awesome to have because you can do a bulk export later on in time and measure how effective. You know, we've got all these leads, how many of them did convert into applications and then enrollment. It also gives you the flexibility to do different types of forms to see what type of response works best. So you can see we have an example of like a quiz that's in a tiered approach. Some other types of approaches, we've taken request information, contact us, quiz, attend an information session. So you can experiment. I mean, they could have the same fields listed, but you know, one could get a better response than others simply how it's labeled. Key pages to target on the live site those are individual program pages. If you don't have individual program pages for undergraduate and graduate on your site, I would highly recommend doing it. I know it can be tedious to create these pages, but it gives people the opportunity through search engine optimization and search engines to find your program, not only from a general search, from a very specific search. Once they're on these pages, you know, these are some things you can add to them. You know, accreditation/awards, testimonials, images of real students. You know, I encourage you to have a very simple design with a strong call to action, and write a lot of copy with short paragraphs, bullet points, headers, just to improve the user experience so they can scan, see that this is a program that they're interested in, and then of course with your newly implemented call to action, they can reach out to you. So that's something you can do to address it on the live site. Landing pages, these are pages that are typically not live on your website, and they're specifically created for paid campaigns. These are pages that are really focused on getting people to convert. They don't have links to other pages on your website. The goal is to put all the information in one place for visitors to have, and then have a strong call to action to reach out. And you want to use these types of pages just because you're paying, you know, when you're paying to get traffic to your website, you want to maximize it as much as possible. And again, the simplification of things can help get the response that you're looking for. Here are a couple examples of some landing pages. Well, this is a specific example of a landing page that we've created that was hyper-focused on a conversion. So you can see that this converted at somewhere between 5 to 8%. We've used it in multiple years for a campaign for Kent State University. And you can see just, I know it's not very big, but you can see there's a lot of bullet points. There's a form with a bright, strong call to action. There's some headlines that really just makes it super simple for people to process and then start the conversation with the university. As I get some Facebook notifications on here. Something else that I would really encourage you to do is look at a program if you're interested in. If you're not utilizing these and you're sending people to your live site, there is a website called Unbounce. I think I list it in the resources. Here's a few resources. So a site called Unbounce is a great third-party program that will allow you to create landing pages. The templates are all are tested and convert very highly, and they give you a variety of different. I'll just show you really quick. Actually, I think I have it open in another window. Yeah, here. So this is Unbounce.com, specifically focused on conversions. They allow you to do A to B testing. Their templates are tested, and you can customize them. But if you go to their templates page, you can kind of see some of these. You can use this template, and you can kind of see it in a little bit bigger way. Yeah, so they give you the templates that you can customize, do a lot of different things with different purposes, and these can be very, very effective. Jump back into resources. So here's a couple other resources. If you want the PowerPoint presentation, simply reach out to us, and I can send that over to you. But just to recap, these are some tactics that you can implement on your website to try and improve the response from existing traffic. They've been proven to work very well, and I hope you can walk away from this with some really good ideas and hopefully improve the response from your website. So if you have any questions for me directly, I will put my email on the screen here. It's john@6th City Marketing, and you can reach me directly at 440-821-1425. So I really appreciate your time. Hopefully this has helped, and if you have any feedback or questions, marketing.com, there we go. Feel free to reach out. Thanks again. All right, bye-bye.